Well, I might have went live everywhere, but welcome everybody to Within the Sim. Normally just live on Facebook, but I just went ahead and went live on all three platforms. Um, Robbie here with me. Interesting. It's definitely an interesting week. Oh, I lost my logos. Okay, definitely an interesting week. Four wasn't a good week for me. Hopefully a better week for you.
Yeah, I stuck to the road racing a lot. There was a ton of great tracks this week, and so I had a lot to keep me busy on that side. Um, wasn't a big fan of Lima Land big blocks, and I don't know, late models. Just the races haven't been clean for me lately, so kind of been steering away from that for a little bit, just taking a break.
Well, I know you ran a couple big block races, but it was definitely rough to watch, and there were a lot of
hmm
toxic ones this week. Um, I ran some late model ones. I didn't have the success I'd hoped to have. Definitely, just wasn't a good week for me. I mean, I ran some IR04 races. Where were we last week? You remember the track? Uh,
Laguna Seca.
yeah, Laguna Seca. Um, it was fun. I definitely made a lot of mistakes, spun out a lot. I gained a little bit of I rating because, which isn't saying much because I'm like a 787 on road, or 78, yeah, 787. But um, I was in that type of split where if you survive, you end up getting a good finish, inside the top seven or eight. And
hmm
so, I mean, I ran a couple of those and disappointed in the mistakes I made, but definitely learned a lot, had a lot of fun, and and survived. I mean, it did what I needed to in order to get some good finishes.
Yeah, Laguna
What's up,
has some
Hunter?
deceptive. Laguna has some deceptively difficult sections. So it's easy to go off track there. A lot easier than you'd expect.
It's really weird because I felt like I lost it at weird spots. Like I would
hmm
nail the corkscrew every time. I have that down because when I first got in there, first time I ever ran Laguna Seca, I get to the corkscrew and of course I blow it. I just can't figure it out. Well, I finally got that corner figured out. Um, so I never had any problems in the corkscrew, but it was that high speed left hander into the right hander where I made a couple mistakes after the corkscrew. I think that's where I made the most mistakes was just being a little too throttle happy and letting it slide out on me. I think that was my biggest mistake. Real easy to do on that fast left hander.
Yeah, for sure. Laguna's a fun track, but I stuck to a lot of GT3 racing this week. They had the VRS Open Series and then also the fixed GT3 B class at Watkins Glen. So I ran that a ton. I had three second place finishes and two thirds. Could not get a win to save my life. I probably should have had one. Going for a last lap pass, and there was net code between me and the guy, and it pushed me wide. But it is what it is. I'm pretty happy with how my I rating looks after this week. I'm up like a good 300 now, three 400 maybe.
Yeah,
But
you
yeah,
definitely got up into the 2000s and over there on road, and that makes a huge difference on road. I think getting
hmm
up into the 2000s. I mean, I do a lot more dodging than I do anything when I run when I run road because of my I rating. It's definitely a lot of dodging, cars not entering the track properly, sliding off the track, sliding back onto the track because they just stay in the throttle. Whatever it is, it seems like I do a lot more dodging than anything else on road courses because of my I rating being in bottom split.
yeah, the splits make a huge difference in road. Um, I mean, it's really hard to get out of that split that you're in. I mean, you almost just have to be just ultra aware all the time, just looking around, constantly watching your mirror for somebody, blowing the corner behind you or somebody diving up your inside. It's not easy to survive those races.
Well, one thing I've noticed about road racing is that some of those guys they have the speed. They're really freaking fast in the bottom split. They must just run into those issues where um, when they're running other people that are just as fast, they're wrecking because they don't belong in bottom split speed wise, but they are. I really
Hmm.
think right now, as I'm learning these tracks, I do belong where I'm at. I slowly get faster every race, but right now I don't. I'd really struggle in a split up because I'm really a mid pack driver right now, even in bottom split.
And a lot of those people's issues in your split too is I know I've spoke about it before is they get memorized like mesmerized by the car that they're racing. So they're basing where they're braking, where they're getting on the gas, where they're turning, all off of what that car right in front of them is doing. And then if that car in front of them makes a little bit of a mistake, it guarantees that they're also making that mistake and more than likely running into the back of them
You
if
know
say that
that
person in front of them blows the corner.
that's the one thing I think I've done really well at is not making that mistake. I'm really good about running my race, which
Yeah,
has
it's
worked out. Which
super.
has worked out because I gain speed every lap.
Mhm. Yeah, but one of the things you really got to remember and kind of train yourself to do is somebody that's new to racing is just focus on where your car is on the track and what line you're on. You can't not base where you're braking or where you're turning on the cars you're racing.
Yeah, for sure. I'm looking at some of the some
Yeah,
of
I
the
know. I put a
notes.
lot of notes.
I was looking at the ones from the other day, and my favorite ones are everything Lima Land.
Yeah.
but you ran seventh. I see a seventh at Sandown. Uh,
Yeah, ran a couple sand down races. I don't know. One I got wrecked in pretty quickly by a dirty driver. I don't know what his issue was. He was just flashing his lights at me and I wasn't blocking him. I just wasn't gonna let him by. And so he just ran into the back of me. But I ran another race in the McLaren and it wasn't the fastest, but I just loved the way that the McLaren drove around that track. So I had a ton of fun running seventh.
Now I know you ran an F1 full length, and we made it to 5 laps to go. Uh,
Yeah,
that
that
one
was
was that was a lot of fun though. I felt like you learned a lot, and I feel like you got a lot to walk away from that one because I mean you had to battle hard. You made some mistakes. You got caught up early, but you got up into what the top six, seven, and
yeah.
you
I
were
had
doing
that bad
well.
luck. I had that bad luck lap one. I was taking it easy around turn one, just being patient, giving everybody room, and a couple cars got together in front of me, and one of them just slid right into me and knocked my front wing off. Had to make a panic pit call. You and me decided to come in and I got hard tires and was running. Plan was to run like 60 laps on the hard tires and seemed to have paid off. I mean, I went from I think 21st or something like that, all the way up to sixth with five to go. And that treacherous turn one, it was so easy. I made a couple mistakes there throughout the race, but the final mistake was I just got on the gas with that left side tire on that curb, and
Well,
it sent me right into the wall on the left.
you were dealing with some of those guys that were on fresh soft tires. I mean, there was a lot going on at that time, and you did a really good job staying focused. I hope some with that because
Yeah, you did.
it was hard. I mean, like you gotta remember you're on hard tires. The leaders are on mediums. You pitted. You're going a lap down, but they're still going to pit at least once or twice. And I
Hmm.
think I tried to remind you of that a few times so you didn't just overdrive it trying to stay on that lead lap because you were going to get that back. Those guys were so stupid fast anyway.
Yeah, those the leaders were crazy fast, and honestly, I was very happy with how I ran up until the point where I wrecked out. But I was very happy with how I was doing. Red Bull Ring's not one of my strong tracks. It's not one of the tracks I've run a lot of races at. Um, but I don't know. I think that race kind of changed my mind, and I'll be looking forward to that coming back on the schedule for F1.
Yeah, it was definitely fun to watch anyway, and it was interesting to see how the different people drove, even in a higher split like that. There was a wide range of talent for sure. Watkins Glen, one of your favorite tracks, man. You didn't get that W at Watkins Glen, and I know you were kind of hoping and expecting that. You got a lot of podiums.
Yeah, it was frustrating. Just could not get it done. I don't know. I had 3 seconds and 2/3, but no wins. Just always one person a little bit quicker, and that one race I should have won, just the net code got me.
Yeah, for sure. And then you ran your one road race in the trucks at Road Atlanta, was it?
It is Mid Ohio,
Mid Ohio,
Mid
Mid Ohio.
Ohio,
Now that's a
and
technical track because there's a lot of elevation change that kind of throws you off when you go in those corners.
yeah, I've definitely noted it down there. That heavy truck plus all those elevation changes equals a ton of fun. I mean, that rear end is so hard to keep behind you when you have all that power and all that weight being thrown around. It
I
was a
didn't.
super fun. I ended up. I don't know why. I mean, I know why I didn't enter any races all week. It's because I didn't see that great of numbers, but I saw 15 people signed up with like 10 minutes to go coming to that last day today, and I was like, all right, I guess I'll run one. And I ended up wishing that I ran it all week because it was a ton of fun. Started sixth, finished fourth. Definitely definitely look forward to that on the schedule again.
I've always been scared of Mid Ohio. It was one of the first road courses I ever bought. Um, I had, early on, I just gotten the sim, and what's up, Aaron Hearn? I love you too, buddy. um, Aaron, I haven't seen Aaron Hearn in a while. Uh, but yeah, freaking, I got my B license. This was a while ago, and this was before they separated the road and the oval. So if you ran a road with with an oval car, it still affected your oval racing uh,
Mhm.
rating. And I went from a B to a D in 1 week. And I said, I'm not a fan of Mid Ohio, and I don't think I've raced it since. I just had
You
a
should
bad,
give it another shot now that you've
yeah.
got more experience.
All I remember, Aaron. Thank you. I just noticed all the stars. Thank you for the stars, Aaron. 600 stars there. Appreciate it. Oh, make it another 800 stars. Appreciate it, buddy. Um, but yeah, it's definitely. I should give it a shot. I struggle in the NASCAR type cars at those tracks. I might give it a shot in a different type of car.
They're very unforgiving. They really are there. It's so easy to get that rear end loose.
I had
I
a
I
lot.
would recommend like even to go take the IRO 4 around there. It would be a ton of fun. I bet that car handles those elevation changes great.
Ironically, I'd probably be better in the 87 because I did pretty good in the 87 at Watkins Glen.
Oh, that would be so much fun around that track.
But that doesn't drive like the rest of the NASCAR cars.
No, no, it drives feels like a real car, a
Yeah.
real boat.
We were enemies, bro. We became best buds. That's the story of a lifetime. Yeah. so, so, yeah, there's a long story between me and Aaron, and that's funny. But then we became really good friends. I got a lot of respect for Aaron. Aaron, do you ever run on iRacing anymore? I haven't seen you in a while. Uh, what's good for road this week? You're looking at the TCRs at Amola.
Yeah, that'll be a
Uh,
ton of fun. I remember running that during week 13 and I had a ton of fun doing that.
LR, LSRL. Okay. I haven't seen you on in a while, so that's why I asked, bud. All right, let's see. What do I want to run this week? Road Atlanta, I guess I'll be running because the IR04s are there, and I have the track.
The new
Uh,
radicals are at the Red Bull Ring. I know you like the Red Bull Ring.
I gotta purchase the new radicals.
Mm. It seems like a big track for them. I wonder. It seems like it's going to be a lot of draft racing, but it could be pretty good.
Aaron says, still suck ass half the time for his racing. It depends on which half he's drunk, though, I'm sure. Porsches. This is a good one for Nick, and I have this car. This looks like a technical track. What is that? Circuit Park,
Zandvoort.
Zandvoort. Yep, that looks
That's
like a
one of
really technical track.
that's like I think one of the two or three road tracks I don't own. So
I
I don't
do
know.
own.
Maybe
I do own it.
I'll have to. I'll watch you run one, and then I'll base whether or not I want it off that.
You don't want to watch me run
All right,
anything.
I'll watch. I'll watch Nick. I'll
You
watch
might
Nick.
want to watch Nick run it. Um, Here's one that you've been trying to get me in. I do own the track, the Ferrari.
Mm-hmm.
The D class, is that the right Ferrari? The 488.
Yes.
All right.
Yep, that's
So
the new Evo.
so they are at Barber Motorsports. Barber Motorsports. You ever notice that every time you look at a track, it looks like something? Like like some tracks look like a racing seat. I don't know. This one kind of looks like a clothing. What do you call the things when you hang clothes up on
Clothespin?
a clothespin? Hang them up on a clothesline. But I mean, all these tracks kind of look like something. But that looks like a fun track.
Yeah, that'll be a ton
It,
of fun.
it looks like even the turns that are there, there's nothing like too stupid sharp, but they're all kind of sweeping turns. Even some of the sharper ones. That might be a fun track to run. GT3s. Where are the GT3s at this week?
B class, open and fixed B class is going to be at Montreal, so that is what I will be hammering all week long. That is going to
Okay.
be so much fun. I love that track, and I'm thinking probably the new Mercedes again. I mean, the thing has been goated at every track so far this season, and I don't think that's going to stop.
What's up, Travis Wellman? Um, are we gonna see another last last lap pass in the grass there?
Yeah, I don't know. I I I have an extra of a little bit of bravery at Montreal. I know that track pretty well.
It was definitely fun watching you race there before, and it'll be interesting to see where things go, um, where that goes for you in those GT3s. I know you like the GT3s a lot.
Yeah, we
Um,
got F1 at Suzuka too. I'm gonna be running that a lot. I feel like I'm pretty quick there.
that's a
So
that's a free track, right?
I think so, actually.
Aaron, Aaron, thank you for the 3,000 more stars. I appreciate it, buddy. Um, yeah, I believe that's a free track, so that one's going to be loaded with people. And if I remember correctly, it's a fun track to drive.
Yeah, I had a ton of fun running it in the league races I did, and yeah, so I think I'm gonna be pretty competitive there. So I'm gonna probably try and run that as much as I can.
And you might even talk me into doing the C one, race for that, the full length one. We'll see. We'll see. I got to get some laps in there. We might have to run some laps together before the race.
It's not an
Uh,
easy one. You're gonna need to turn a lot of laps.
that's
It's
the
got a
thing.
very odd like rhythm to it in that first half.
Can I use the driver's line because it's C class? Can I use the cheat line? It's like grip hacks. You just stay on the line to get extra grip, right?
Hmm.
No. You're rolling your eyes at me. Um, Oval racing, man. After you did the Atlanta one, I hesitated, and
Yeah, that's all I needed.
I jumped at a B open,
Oh, how'd it go?
tight. But I didn't last very long because when you wreck there, everybody wrecks. And I got caught up in somebody else's mess. I was just trying to stay smooth and consistent. Um, I've really become a short track person. I'm not big on those lotto tracks.
Yeah.
I
Hey, we got to
appreciate it,
practice a
Aaron.
little
I
bit
really
though
do.
for we got to practice a little bit for when we start racing with Chris some more.
Yeah, I do like. It's just those lotto tracks. It's just I struggle with.
Yeah, no,
I struggle
he's not
mentally
gonna
with
get me
those.
on a lottery track.
I,
He'll get me on a mile and a half, but he's not gonna get me on a
I'll tell you.
Atlanta or a Dega or a Daytona.
I'll tell you what though. Chris, I've been. He's getting caught up in stuff. He's still beginning. He's still new, but he's definitely been picking it up, and I've seen him quite a bit on iRacing.
Yeah, I've heard and I've
Ru-
been talking to him quite a bit, trying to help him as much as I can. Sending him
rumor
little
ha-
videos or whatnot to watch.
Rumor has it. I don't think his wife is so happy about it, but
He's addicted to iRacing.
yeah, we need an iRacing anonymous, but he's in a rookie legends kart race right now.
Oh, awesome! I'm gonna go watch that race right now. My Chris.
so, yeah, so oval racing star party. Definitely, I appreciate it, Aaron. I wish we could get the race again together. Some. I've been running a lot more dirt lately, though. Um, you went to go get some redemption with some asphalt sprints this week at
Yeah, I think we
North
talked about
Wilkesboro.
it. I think we talked about it in the last podcast because we did it on a Tuesday. But I ran a Silver Crown race at North Wilkesboro and was junked lap one, turn one. So I wanted redemption. Made sure I made that asphalt sprint car race, and car felt a little bit loose in practice. I gave it extra click of bump stiffness on the right side and snugged it up a little bit. Seemed to do the trick. I was surprisingly fast against a pretty good field of those guys, and I started fourth. And about halfway through, I found my way up to second, and I got junked, sent back to 10th or 11th or something like that, and came in, filled those cars up with fuel. Because if you don't know, you don't need tires in those cars. If you pit, always fill the car up to full fuel because that's when it's fastest.
Mm-hmm.
You have the most grip in the rear end.
Yeah, that
So I
weight.
filled it
That
back
weight.
up. Yeah, the weight really helps. Um, yeah, so I ended up coming back out and ended up with a fourth place finish. So I had a lot of fun. The track's super awesome. The asphalt sprint cars, very racy, um, very good racing.
Aaron sitting over here still throwing stars at me. He just threw 500 more. Says star party mofos. Uh, but let's see. Looking to run the wheeling mods at Richmond. Definitely. You know what? I ran a Pocono race in the 87s this week. A couple of them.
How was that?
I love that car.
Do you see where they're at this week? I'm gonna run some.
I did not look, but
They're at Auto Club, so it's gonna be like Michigan.
I love running the 80s. It's just the way they run. It feels like I'm out for a cruise. It doesn't handle great like everything else. And I feel like I could just cruise along at my own pace and the car comes to me and I'm in contention. Um,
I like cruising around those big tracks like Michigan, so I think Auto Club's gonna be a ton of fun. They just, I don't know,
I
they're more fun than like any of the other NASCAR cars on a track like that, I think.
I I ran one. Nick Ham ran one with me, and I think he regrets it. It's Pocono. It's his home track. Um, so the first one I ran, I had a lot of fun. Second one I ran, I think I finished fourth or fifth. I forget. In the second one I ran, but that's the one Ham was in there with me, and it was like 1 o'clock, 1:30 in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, whatever it was. And Ham got in there. I was gonna back out. I was thinking about not running it. And Ham got in. I said, "Well, I can't back out now." And so I ran it, and he was faster than me at the beginning, but I was trying to save my tires and gas because it was really close on gas. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to play a little strategy. It happened that we got three cautions. Ham was one of them. Oh, it was a 90 lap race. We got a caution at lap 30 and a caution at lap 60. And so Nick just kind of lost his tires. I think he lost it out of turn number one because there's only three turns there. I kept getting yelled at by him for saying there was too many turns, and he ended up getting into the wall. And I just stayed steady and consistent. Never pushed it real hard. I ended up with like a fourth or fifth place finish. It was a lot of fun. I just cruised, having a good time. I loved it, and I will probably run Auto Club because
I'm
I,
watching.
I I do love running those cars.
Yeah, they're super fun there. Um, I'm watching Chris right now. Rip.
Yeah.
Looks like he's having fun.
Yeah, he's having fun. He's getting frustrated. It's good that he's getting frustrated. That means he's getting better. Oh,
Hey,
so
but congrats to him for making C class. I remember he said that he made C class, so good for him for making that quick. And I know me and him talked about him taking the easy route, and he didn't want to do it. So I know he earned that C license instead of just putting around at the back. So good for him.
now we can't talk about Oval without talking about Wilson. So when we were live last week, they were running at Road America in the Cup cars. Steve Wilson takes the pole and absolutely dominates the race, leads every single lap. Um, man,
Yeah, he shocked a lot of people.
he's going to be hard to beat, and right now he's leading the points too. I mean, he's out in front of Nick Ottinger. He's got and not that that's all going to matter because they got three more
Mhm.
races and they're going to be going into the playoffs. But he's got Ottinger by, let's see, 21, 41, 43 points uh, ahead of second. He's got two wins. So does Ottinger and Conti. But, there's a lot of people with wins. It looks like we got three two-time winners, but there's three more races left. And right now they have two
Mhm.
spots where people can qualify on points. Um,
It might come down to where
it,
if we see three more race winners, it might actually come down to points as to who gets in here.
it could be interesting. I gotta say though, they are. Oh shoot! I take that. No, okay, I do take. So next week's Pocono. I mean, after coming off the Road America, you gotta imagine Steve's the favorite the next two races. Pocono,
Mhm.
almost like a road course. That's next weekend, next Tuesday, week from tomorrow, and then Watkins Glen. Those are the next two races. I mean, those almost both have to kind of benefit Wilson.
You're gonna see some you're gonna see some wild efforts from Bobby Zelensky and Mitchell DeJong in that Watkins Glen race because this was almost a must-win situation for both of them at Road America, and neither of them got the job done. And both of them are not in great points positions. They need a win.
And then probably the greatest place to ever stop the regular season and put people in a must-win situation. Darlington, August 30th. That's going to be their regular season finale. That one could be definitely interesting, especially with this new car. And you hit that wall a little too hard, your suspension's done, and they're all going to hit the wall. I mean, it's Darlington.
Yeah, that track always breeds exciting racing.
So it'll be interesting end of the regular season for the Coca Cola series. Like I said, I mean Steve's in a pretty commanding position, and I think the next two races are going to favor. I mean, he could go. I mean, you imagine if he takes two more wins, he's going to have a two race win advantage over everybody else going into the playoffs. That could be huge.
Hmm.
And then you got Zach no second, Casey Kerwin in ninth and 10th in points right now with no wins. So definitely be interested to see how the rest of that season goes down um, for those guys for sure. I mean,
It's
it's
absolutely crazy how many
should be
different
fun.
race winners they have. I mean, and compare it to say, the Dirt Oval series. I don't think we're going to see that many different race winners. I mean, I think we're going to see a lot, but not nearly as many.
Oh, somebody's going to take three or four wins for
Yeah,
sure.
I think you're
Um,
going to have a couple of those, like your Majulis and your Say. They're going to win more than one or two. They're going to win probably three.
that's going to be Nathan's opportunity to prove that he is the top dirt racer on iRacing.
Yep, and I'll be rooting for them.
um, NASCAR's at New Hampshire. I might take a swing at New Hampshire. I've
Uh,
never raced it. Like it's always come up, and for whatever reason, I've never raced New Hampshire.
well, you let me know how you like it. I will be sitting that one out. I'm not a big fan of New Hampshire. I don't know. I just it's hard for me to get myself in a rhythm. I mean, I've had good races there before, but I don't know. I just don't think it's a very fun track to drive.
But I will tell you some of the series that are probably not as well run. Well, Legends are usually run, but some of these other, like the Legends at North Wilkesboro, I would get in on
Yeah,
that.
that's the Advanced Legends series, so that'll
Yeah.
be open, I think, and that'll be a ton of fun. I'll probably rip that.
Uh,
Everything at North Wilkesboro is fun.
SKs are at Lucas Oil. I don't know. I feel like that's a big track for an underpowered car. I probably wouldn't be
Yeah,
interested in that.
that sounds like bumper cars.
Touring mods at Richmond. I had a lot of fun last season at Richmond in the touring mods. Definitely much more technical than you would expect them to be, but I love that track. I really do.
Yeah, I think that's a great track for those cars. It's a lot more momentum-based racing than you'd expect, and you can get it loose a lot easier than you'd expect too.
I actually am liking the looks of the oval. Like super late models are at asphalt or at USA. USA is a fun
Yeah, that'll be
track.
fun. Hmm.
Um,
Teaches throttle control coming out of that corner.
I won't be running any ARCA at Twin Ring. Um, so there's some good ones. You're going to Southern National in your sprint car. You've been there before in the sprint.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably not gonna run that one. It's just too small for me. I like big tracks like the Milwaukee Mile or North Wilkesboro, even for example, where you can really open up the throttle a lot more. Tracks like Southern National, you're
It,
just.
so you're the equivalent of a tacky track warrior on asphalt.
Or wait, no, I'm thinking is Southern National the bigger banked one?
Southern is the one that we have done the
I
most
think yeah.
358s on.
Actually, I'm sorry. I was mistaking that
Yeah.
for South Boston.
Yeah,
So
South
yes,
Boston is definitely a lot tighter.
yeah,
Southern
South
Southern's
Boston's a
not.
tiny little bull ring. Southern National, now I think of it, yeah, that's a great track. I will definitely try and catch that for the asphalt sprint cars.
Now now we're talking about asphalt and I'm gonna mix a little dirt in here. Um 358s. We did a 358. If you guys haven't seen my shorts, YouTube short or Facebook reel, you got to go check it out. We ran the 358s at a few places, but we ran it at Concord. We had an amazing field. We had Jamie Massey in there. We had well famous. We had Hackney tried, but he had internet connection issues. Andrew Clark. I mean, Andrew Clark and Massey had. I finished third. I had a great view of it, and Massey had an amazing finish for the win. Back and forth slide jobs. We've done some 358 races, and Concord was by far probably the most fun. I know I don't think you've done that one yet, but it was a blast. Now, um, I've talked and asked around. It's a possibility we might do a weekly thing with that. Hackney's down for it. I'm sure Massey is. Clark wants to do it. Uh, Ryan will do whatever. Well, Famous is down for whatever. I mean, big 358s and big blocks on asphalt. Robbie, I know you like it.
Yeah, just yesterday I was running. It was a big block hosted with the House Speed guys and the Apex team. We were all running big block modifieds at Oxford Plains. It was a lot of fun. I was way off the pace, but those
It,
guys were having fun.
that would be fun, and I think Dave and I, because Dave,
I think
Dave
it'd be
does a
popular.
Dave does a lot of the sets. They might end up putting it week 13 if we keep doing it. Um,
Yeah, honestly.
so they keep track of those hosted because when I was hammering out and filling up those sessions for the Pro 2 lights on Dirt Oval, they started doing week 13 Pro 2 lights on Dirt Oval. It was kind of crazy. I'm pretty sure they saw my sessions because they were filling up. We were doing those every Friday night. But yeah, I think it would be popular. Uh, Dave and I we tried the big blocks at Concord. It was totally different than doing the 358s. It wasn't as fun. Way too much power. So we're thinking a ratio of splitting up the shorter tracks on 358s and the bigger tracks with the big blocks. Like North Wilkesboro would have been much better with a big block than it was a 358, just because it's a bigger track, more power. Um,
Hmm.
but I think it could be a lot of fun. Mix it up and have a lot of fun and not take it quite as serious. Good break from the monotony, kind of like our wide open Wednesdays. I think if you guys haven't checked out the short, go check it out just to give you a quick idea of what it's like. But Robbie, we've done it a few times. It's the first time we've talked about it on the podcast, but we've done it a few times over the last 4 or 5 months. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and if you haven't tried it, go load up a test session. Pick your favorite asphalt track and get in a big block modified or a 358.
Look
It's
and
it's more fun than you'd expect. It,
eh,
it handles a lot better than you'd expect.
look and Dave when he puts up Kalagi
Yeah, and
when he
there's a
puts
built
up
set, even better.
when he puts up the sessions or when we do, we don't care. Um, If we're doing a fixed setup, take the setup, use it, run it, put some hosted up, get more people involved. It's a lot of fun, and I'm sure that sometime this week or this weekend I'll put up some more of those. That's definitely a lot of fun to run those, and I can't wait to do more of them. I really haven't had a lot of fun, and I think that's part of my problem because I haven't been hitting a lot of officials, and I think I was talking to you about how frustrated I was earlier, um, especially
Yeah,
in the
Lima
dirt.
Land has been a very frustrating week.
It's been a frustrating month and a half for me, and you know what? It kind of lines up with the school letting out. I don't think it's most of the students, but I just think that more pressure, more people on the sim constantly, has caused people to drive differently, and there's a lot more contact, and it's just a lot of people driving over their head, and it hasn't been as much fun for me here lately. So, definitely looking forward to doing something that's not quite as stressful, and I want to have some fun.
Hey, go run some road with me.
Well, you got dirt road too.
Yeah.
You're gonna run some Beetle
Uh,
lights at Knock Hill.
if it's populated, absolutely. I know it's a pretty popular road track, so I'm probably gonna get, a few people in there. It's not gonna be like a bonking. Uh, last week I couldn't run Beetle Lights at all because there wasn't one session full of people for me to join, so that
Sucks.
was lame.
Oh,
Um, but yeah, hopefully Knock Hill is populated. I think it's a fun track.
for sure. You got the B class trucks that are at Bark River. You got down here. We got to talk about these that Pro Series again, and I keep not watching them, and I don't know why because I enjoy it. AMX is coming back soon, and I need to tell Anthony that I will broadcast this stuff. I think they're going to be Tuesday nights, so we will have some off road trucks here on the channel again here soon. But we got some familiar names on the channel taking victories this weekend. Keaton Swain, he won the first race at Wild West, and then Cam Peterson, the first multi race winner here in the Pro Series. He takes the second one. So we at Wild West. So we definitely have some familiar names that we're familiar with. Both those guys have been on the channel plenty of times. So you know, it sounds exciting over there. I gotta watch them because you watch two races in a row at the same track, and it's not ever the same two winners. The only one that's consistently even in the top is Connor Berry, who is dominating the point. Well, can't quite say dominating. Keaton sneaking in there. We talked about Keaton being consistent. So Keaton and Connor Berry are dominating the points for the most part. Felix has kind of snuck up a little bit close. But you got 284 to 267 points, so less than a 20-point lead between Connor Berry and Keaton Swain. Felix Roy's back there at Felix Waugh is back there at 249 points, and then you got to drop all the way back to fourth at 220, then 210, 209. I mean, that battle from fifth on back is pretty close. But I mean, this is going to be Connor Berry's or Keaton Swain's championship to win, I think. And these are guys that I see often over at AMX. So, I got to start following this. These guys are wild, and they're a lot of fun to watch. They're not afraid to bump, beat, and bang, and they don't get as upset as they do over on the dirt or the asphalt side when you get a little bit of rubbing.
Hmm.
So it'll be cool to watch some of that. For the first race, Keaton won over Josh Edmondson. He only won by 2.5 tenths. But Cam's race, he won by almost a full second, so he dominated the second race. So, but definitely worth watching some of those races, and good group of guys. I definitely enjoy those guys. So, so like you said, you didn't run any of that dirt road, but we could talk about dirt. I would tell everybody what Lima Land is, but I don't know if it's going to get me in trouble. What's up, Night King? I got YouTube and everything else up, and they're all saying hi everywhere. Yeah, it didn't matter where Lima Land, Volusia. I didn't try any pros. Um, but I heard a lot of the same thing this week on dirt, and everybody just kind of struggled, getting hit, getting beaten around. Seemed like there was a lot of vendettas going on, and it seemed like it kind of carried over from series to series this week. It was definitely a rough week on dirt.
Yeah, it was not a lot of clean racing. The late models were frustrating. Head speed at Knoxville in the pros and Fallujah in the supers, and I don't know, every race I was in, I found somebody just barreling up the inside on a restart or on the start, just feed me a right rear moving up the track with just no regard. I don't
You
know.
know,
There just wasn't a lot of respect shown this week, and Lima Land was the cherry on the Sunday. I mean, there was just no good races.
yeah, there was definitely some rough ones, and it made me think about bringing back an old idea, the toxic top, kind of like a off spin of like an Arca Break Weekly, and we might do that. Who knows? We'll find out. Let's see how this week at Volusia is. It definitely started off with some good racing and some toxic, so we might get an episode this week. I'm gonna try and race more and broadcast some just to have some fun, or at least
I'm
record it and and post it later.
I'm looking forward to Supers at Port Royal. I think that'll be a lot of fun. Um, maybe I'll get some big blocks at Volusia, but I don't know. The drama continues. I'm probably just gonna hang out in the
It,
late
it,
models or road.
It sucks because it seems like a lot of things come to head at Volusia every season. I've seen some since I first broke into Top Split. I've seen it happen. I think it was Bowden, Boyd, Bowden, Bonin, Bowden. You know who I'm talking about, Boyd. Um, Zane Yost, all those guys were feuding in the first Top Split race I ever made at Volusia. And there were some straight lines under caution, and it seems like it just always seems to come to a head at Volusia. I enjoy Volusia so much. I think the key at Volusia is you could have a good race if you're in the top five. If you're outside the top
Yeah,
five, you might get caught up in all the BS.
qualifying is super important, and starting on that inside row is even more important.
Yeah,
It's
because it's so
dangerous.
single file for the first 25 laps.
Hmm.
Um, I watched Bocus, man, make some moves up through the field. He had a great run in the big block official. Ended up finishing fourth. He was up 9 positions on the race. And I'll tell you what, last season I was doing a lot of that. I'd get spun out, end up in the back, and it seemed like I was the only one that could pass at Volusia. It seemed like everybody was single file, and whatever, maybe it was the gear I was running, it just worked. And I was able to pass at Volusia where everybody else was just all single file. So,
Yeah, I think Volusia on the surface doesn't look very technical, but it's a lot more technical than people would expect. And if you know how to run it, you can pick up positions pretty easy.
yeah, I knew it was you, Robert, over there on YouTube. Let's see. Nathan says, I feel like if I had a few more laps, I could have had Conrad. Yeah, Nathan was closing in on Conrad at the end of that one. He got caught up. He got stuck on the outside. He qualified second, and I said that. I said second, such a hard place to start at Volusia. I think the worst place to start at Volusia is second place on an initial start. I think it's the
Yeah, it's
worst
tough
place
on
to
the
start on a
outside.
lot. You're stuck on the outside for starters, and you're trying to anticipate
You know that
the
third place
leader.
car is doing everything you can to get on your inside.
Yeah, and a lot of times it gives that fourth place car behind you an advantage. I think even they have an advantage because they're watching the leader. So once you get into turn number one and two, third place a lot of times gets past you, and now fourth place can move down and get around you too. Second place is such a vulnerable spot. Nathan got pushed back to fourth, and he had to fight his way back up. There was some contact here and there. Good racing overall, but he was coming at that. Nathan is so smooth.
Yeah, he's been getting quick in the big blocks. It was a good race, up front at least.
Yeah. There was a couple issues between Kuta dishing out some straight lines to Ducharme. Um, you know what? I'll tell you. I know there's some history, whatever going on, but there was nothing in that race that said give Tyler a straight line. Like to try these late models, yeah. I'd like to not wreck in the late models. No. Um, so that'll be interesting. Supers are at Port Royal also, so yeah, I think Port Royal is going to be a good track for the late models. It's definitely rough with the big blocks and the 358s. I did run a 358 race, and it was just hold it wide open at the top. That's basically all it was. Let off going into the turn, and then roll back in. But I mean, I'll tell you what, you feel like you're on absolute edge though, even in a 358 at Port Royal. I mean, it's to me, it's like the first time you got in a sprint car and you're like, oh my god, I got to slow this down in my mind. I feel like I'm going too fast. I feel
Hmm.
like that in a 358 at Port Royal. Honestly, it is a different animal.
Yeah, it can be hard to be consistent running right on that wall because those straights are so long, you're entering so fast. It can be easy to just enter a little bit too quick and get yourself caught up in that wall.
Yeah, I seen a couple sliders and some people missing them, and then with the 358, it's hard because you don't want to let off the
Hmm.
throttle because you lose so much momentum in those because they're so momentum based. But I watched Andrew Clark throw a slider where he was a car length, maybe just a little shy of a full car length in front of the other car, and the guy behind him just wouldn't let up, and then yelled at him and said it was a bad slide job. I thought it was a great slide job, but they ended up wrecking, and it was all chaos. And that's just the nature of the beast. I mean, you gotta hold those things as wide open as you can, or you're gonna lose bad.
Hmm.
Um, what else we got? Four
You
tens
got
at
410
Eldora.
sprints.
410s at Eldora, and I believe Port Royal will both be great. Um, they seem fun at I-55. Those slick type tracks, and Eldora's a slick track. Even when it's tacky,
Hmm.
that track is slick, and it is so fun to watch those 410s get slid around, and you get slide jobs back and forth with
I just love running the wall in a sprint car. They build the cushion up a little bit different than a big block or a late model, and it's unique. It's fun.
360s at USA. I gotta imagine that's a lot more fun than a 305.
Oh yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. I'll definitely have to try that this week.
Yeah, that'll be different. Might have to go with those. What is it? Is it JD Brown on VRS? What is setups for the 360s? Where are 358s? I didn't even look this week. I'm looking right now. Williams Grove. I will not be running any 358 races. That is a terrible track in a 358. I love the big block there, but the 358 is just terrible. It's too big of a track.
The fixed setups are terrible.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. It actually probably wouldn't be that bad if it was an open set, but the fixed set is
Yeah,
definitely makes it difficult. Oh, you know what? I really like I-55, and the 305s are running I-55. You might catch me in one of those this week, just
that'd be
because.
hot bottom for a while.
Well, I mean that might. It's just that track once it gets slick is so fun. I love that track slick. It gets so technical. At I-55, the massive banking. I just enjoy that track. Limited at Volusia. Well, I like Volusia, but that just sounds like a train.
Hmm.
UMPs at Port Royal. You might actually be able to run something at the bottom at Port Royal. I bet you those UMPs will run the bottom good.
Yeah, I'm gonna rip that too. That'd be a lot of fun.
So those are a couple big things.
It'll get me
This
ready for big blocks next week.
super late models at Port Royal, the 75 lapper. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, that track will slick off a lot, and hey, maybe you'll see the bottom there too.
Well, I promise you, I'll be broadcasting it. That 5 o'clock one tomorrow. You know, it's been a lot of fun, and we've seen like even Tyler Hudson's been in, and all but one. So we're 4 weeks. This will be week 5. So out of the 4 weeks for the super late model tour, he has been in all but one of the races. So it'll be interesting. And I'll tell you what, they got pretty toxic at Volusia in the super lates, and he didn't do anything about it. I was surprised. There was a few people threatening to straight line and wreck intentionally, and he just let it be. He got a second place finish, so that was interesting. I'm thinking these guys are asking for it. He's gonna end up booting him out of here or chat banning him right on the spot, and he didn't do anything. So
Yeah, I'm sure
that
he took care of that post race.
yeah,
I wish
definitely.
that was open so much. So bad, so bad. I wish that was open setup. I would love to run that.
I gotta imagine that they're trying to see what kind of turnout they have. They might end up going NIS style and doing an open and a fix,
That's what
or
they should do.
or they might keep it the fix to try. They're we're not the only ones to know that there's a setup shop problem.
Yeah.
So they might be
I don't
doing this
know.
to deter
Problem or not. I don't know. I think you could argue that it's good. It
what
gets
the.
people like me who literally don't know anything about setups
I'm talking.
competing
I'm
at
talking
high
about the
levels.
drama.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it might
It comes
change
with a
day.
price.
It might change daily or weekly on who's feeding with who and who's friends with who. But yeah, definitely. Ugh, that's gonna be terrible. You won't catch me. The pro lates are at Bristol.
Yeah. Uh, that's a no.
So definitely, there's some good tracks. Hopefully, this week is better than last week. Out of all the tracks though that we talked about, all the series, what are you looking forward to the most?
I'm looking forward the most on the road side is going to be um, Montreal GT3. I'm going to run that a lot. I love that track. I think I'm going to be very competitive there. And yeah, I'm going to try and keep my momentum rolling out of Watkins Glen and keep trying to get 3,000 hour rating in road. And then on the dirt side, really looking forward to Port Royal Supers and big blocks at Volusia.
Now, you keep doing all this road race, and they're going to nickname you the Pavement Princess over there on Apex.
Hey, I'm okay with that. I'm the one trick pony. That's what
Ooh,
I'll call them.
the Lotus 49 is at Amola also this week.
Ah, that'll be fun if we get a populated race.
It might be fun if it's just one short of being official because then I can wreck and it won't matter. Ooh, Camel GT is at Sebring.
I wish I could catch those races.
Yeah.
I think they run off a foreign time zone, like the UK time zones, and
Yeah,
so
if
I,
you
I
if
think
you
they race
guys
while I'm at work.
if you guys are out there and you know when they go official, shoot us a message over on the Facebook page. Let us know. I know Robbie's been looking to run those. Um, and
I'd
as
love to run that Audi.
look as what is it? Dave Cam said, it is
Hmm.
not a dead series. I
Nope.
repeat, Camel GT is not a dead series. But man, I watched that video from Dave Cam, and it looked like an absolute blast. I actually wanted to race it after I seen it, and I'm not
Yeah,
a big road guy.
I love Dave Cam. He's a great content creator. I liked it. He's honestly one of the people that really got me into road. You know, I was just going through YouTube looking at iRacing videos. I came across his content and found him amusing. He's a really good driver and very knowledgeable. Um,
He mixes it up too. He does a little bit of everything. He teaches, he races, he talks about product. I mean, he does a good job mixing it up.
Speaking of that, his video immediately after that video that you watched, he released a video looking at how he was so much slower out of the corners than the other people, and it was because he was using auto clutch. And so he made this whole video demonstrating the advantages of not using auto clutch. And I think he ran an example of that Audi again at Watkins Glen, and he was almost a second quicker. I think he was 9/10 quicker using the manual clutch himself.
Well, you
So
you
that's
want to
something to consider.
you want to know how I think he figured that out?
How?
Because somebody commented that he
Probably.
was
Yeah, I mean, he's
using
got a
auto
ton of
clutch.
followers.
Oh no, the other thing was somebody said something about using the auto clutch and letting off the throttle to shift, and how other people when they were using auto clutch weren't letting off the throttle, and that may have been a difference too,
Ah,
because when you're using auto clutch, you don't have to let off the throttle, and that would definitely affect your time.
yeah, you'd be able to have so much more pop out of the corner.
So Peachtree 3
Yeah,
PTT.
Steve Myers put out a pretty awesome tweet about this. For those of you that don't know, Peachtree 3 is a 3-hour charity race at Road Atlanta. They run a very weird mix of cars. They have the old Corvette CR8 GTE, the Mazda MX-5, and all the GT4 cars running. They've got lots of weird rules where you can issue a drive-through penalty to another competitor for $350. You could call a caution for 500 or a caution with a wave round for 1,000. Um, all the money goes towards the National MS Society, so it's a great cause. But Steve Meyer's tweet was especially interesting because he said that if the right donation is made, we would see a screenshot of GT3 cars in the rain in iRacing. So I think that's pretty cool. He's definitely not bluffing. They've released content before during this event. So yeah, if you want to compete, go do that. And if you want to donate, it's a great cause. Last year, the event raised $57,000. So I think that's the goal to beat.
Well, let's talk about rain. They've been teasing rain for what, about a year now?
Hmm.
I don't know what the holdup is, but now with the new, so iRace, was watching. I think I said the iRacing, iRacers Lounge last week, and they did these. They had a website where it said where the most people were active, and iRacing was first, and F1 was second, and F122 hadn't come out. I think it just came out last week, if I
Hmm.
remember. F122. I mean, do you think now is the time, in order to not? I mean, a lot of people race F1 probably because of the rain.
You have to remember too that a lot of people run F1 because it's console.
Well,
There's so many people and so many kids out there that are fans of F1 that cannot afford a gaming computer that it can run iRacing. So they're left with the Xbox that they've had and that they've had for many years, or that PlayStation that their parents got them for Christmas, and so that's kind of what they're left with. So I think that drives a lot of the popularity of F1. As far as iRacing releasing Rain, I think it does put a little pressure on them because it is a very popular game, but at the same time, they're not going to do it unless they know it's perfect, because they're not going to release something and then have that, you know, I don't know, they have a reputation to uphold, if you know what I mean.
for sure. Well, Tyler Ducharme said about all big block officials what you said about Lima Land. Just so you know. Um, but I'll tell you what, Tyler has every right to feel that that last big block official was that way. I thought he was going to win 5 SOFs in a row, but he goes out, he qualifies um, like 15th. I forget, wasn't it 15th, Tyler? He had a he hit the wall, ended up uh, qualifying 15th. Let's see, 17th, I think, actually. He qualified in
And
the
it's so
back, and which
it's
is
so hard
odd
to
for
move through
him.
the pack there.
But he gets intentionally wrecked twice. He qualified last. And still finishes 14th, which isn't where he wanted to be. Um, took a pretty hefty I rating loss, but he was. I'll tell you what, Colin made it up to the field, made it up to third. I don't. I think Tyler was moving to. He was moving up. He got inside the top 10 when the caution came out right around lap 30. Um, so he was on the move forward. I thought he still had the potential to maybe win 5 in a row, but man, is there anybody that's better than Tyler right now in the big blocks?
Ryan
I mean,
Conrad.
well, you got to say that, but yeah, look, that's a good battle though. I mean, we've seen them go at it, sometimes nicely, sometimes not so nicely, but those two, I believe. So here's my thing. I believe the difference between Ryan Conrad and Tyler Ducharme is the amount of aggressiveness that Tyler Ducharme has over Ryan Conrad. Now, I've seen a little different Ryan here lately, so we might be talking differently in a couple weeks, but I think that
I
is the
stand
one
by my
thing.
statement.
I think that is the one thing though that would bring Tyler to. He says, "Love Conrad, gotta have comp," but that one thing that has held Conrad back. I think from being probably easily told he was the best is the amount of aggressiveness that he's lacked compared to maybe Tyler. Um, but Brian's definitely in that conversation.
100%.
So it'd be interesting to see. Like I said, I've seen Conrad here recently with a little bit of a different drive, and maybe that'll help that aggressiveness out, and he'll knock Tyler off the top of the charts. But Tyler won 4 SOF races. Hopefully, we get Conrad out there and get them battling side by side next week.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a great points battle to the end, and I don't know, the little not an alliance, but friendship between the two setup shops has been nice lately, and yeah, it'll
Yeah,
be fun to battle with
definitely,
them.
definitely, uh, definitely. I gotta ask that question because we cover big blocks so much. Who we think of as the best in big blocks right now, and I think that battle is going to be interesting. I definitely think that battle, and I'll tell you what, you got to put Bocus in that conversation. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
Bocus is so smooth. He sneaks up there, and all of a sudden he's there. He just doesn't run enough, so people forget about him.
You can't forget the top dirt iRacer too, Nathan Waddell.
Who?
The
No, I'm
top dirt
joking.
iRacer.
I'm joking. Yeah, Nathan. So I would not say Nathan is the top big block driver, but he could be. Tyler says going to have to stack one so we can have a true race. Yeah. Yeah, he needs one where he doesn't he doesn't need 8-wheel drive. He doesn't need somebody pushing him from the side or
we'll
behind.
we'll be able to do that plenty of times this week. We'll have plenty of fun races.
Yeah.
Fallujah's a great track.
I'm gonna mix it up there up front. You know that, right? You know
Come run.
at Volusia, and I'll run at Volusia that I usually do pretty well there. Um, I don't know. I've learned some throttle control stuff here lately that I think has really been an advantage, and I was already pretty good at Volusia. Maybe I can keep with those guys. Thank God for the draft because even if I'm not fast enough, I might be fast enough.
Yeah, that draft is powerful there. If you're on somebody's bumper, it just keeps you right there.
I remember, I remember a race at Williams Grove, and I hung with Buono, and to hang with him at Williams Grove, draft or not, felt good because I mean, Tyler might have taken that though, but I would have said before we seen this recent Williams Grove run that Buono was the best. I think Tyler might have him topped, and Durgan's not far behind. Um, there at Williams Grove, but Buono was the top guy at Williams Grove, and it was cool to be able to hang with him because he is so good at that track.
Yeah, Buono's always strong at Williams Grove.
But I know damn well the only reason I was able to hang with him is because of that draft. But I still ran a solid second behind him, so I couldn't complain about that. It was still a good run overall. And that track's a lot of fun when you get racing people that run you clean and run good and pay attention to what's going on around them because you can have some good battles there.
Hmm. Great track with the right people.
Yeah, Ducharme said Knoxville is going to be fun next week. Or Knoxville week is going to be fun. That's not next week, but I think Robbie will agree with you. I'll probably watch that one.
Hmm.
That's
For
another
sure.
track. That's another track that it's hard to beat Tyler. So
I'll be
and,
coming from that
and,
week.
and Buono does good at Knoxville, I believe, if I remember correctly. That's one of those tracks that he does well at. Um, but yeah, that'll be a good. I'll love seeing you and Tyler running up there neck to neck together because that's definitely a track that you excel at. That's when you
Yeah, I
go
think I can
to
give him a run
and
for his money. If I'm
expect
gonna
to
do it
win.
anywhere, it'll be at Knoxville.
Yeah. Well, you're usually there. But that's another thing I gotta say. I watched you run a lot of Lima Land. I seen you making moves that you normally wouldn't. Getting a little bit more aggressive. That might make a difference for you.
Yeah, it's a
Problem
new
is,
me now. I'm not running like I used to. No, I don't know. You gotta be a
well,
little bit more aggressive, and Colin's told me that for a while. So
I
I'm
definitely
finally just
seen
getting comfortable with it.
I definitely seen a lot of that. That was fun to watch. And Tyler hit the nail on the head. Problem is, there's no good big block leagues out, so all these guys just flood officials, no quality, and that makes a difference too because it does move some of the people out and makes them concentrate on officials. You know what? Officials get so addicting. You get in that. I gotta run officials. I gotta run officials. I gotta run officials because you start chasing that I rating. And it's hard to get out of that swing. And there are really not a lot of. I mean, Peter does some stuff over at SLR, but I can't think of anybody else running a lot of big block stuff right now.
Yeah, good point.
But, I got to say, most of that is probably our fault as a community. I mean, we got some toxic shit.
Yeah, that's another great point.
so,
Probably real strong reason why that's a thing.
yeah, that definitely affects. I'm sure when people want to run a big block league or if they want to run a big block league. I really well, we got Fulton. We'll be doing something with Fulton here soon.
I
Um,
think NWRA will bring it back too. That'll be good.
yeah, and I need to bring something back because I'll tell you what, I still and I'm not tooting my own horn, but I still haven't seen much in comparison to what we did with that big block series.
That was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Big block community killed our factor the same way, so not surprising. That's what Tyler said. So, but yeah, so I mean, a lot of different things. Now let's talk about equipment. I made a comment to you earlier, and I said I really feel like my equipment might be affecting me on road. My wheel. I got a G920. Um, I feel at this point, and some of it is repetition, but I do feel at this point that that wheel is holding me back more on asphalt than it is dirt.
It definitely could be. And I don't know. I told you last week. I was over at my friend's house, and he still uses the same wheel you use actually. But it was the same wheel that I used to run. Basically, I had a G29, and I didn't remember how small it was. So thinking about that, I think having that bigger wheel now, I think it makes me a lot smoother. So maybe it's a combination of getting that more feel through the direct drive and and everything. But I don't know. Maybe you should consider getting a bigger wheel. Maybe that could help.
The only problem I've seen about the bigger wheel on the Logitechs is it hurts the motor,
Uh, that makes
which
sense.
which is why I have never increased the wheel because I've thought about that. Um, I've ran on Greg Wood's CSO. He's got the direct. He's got the belt driven one, and it was great, and that was on asphalt. But I heard
You have
it
to come
that
try mine.
I'm scared to because then I won't want to race anymore. I'm literally like I used his and the wheel. I'm still okay with my wheel for the most part, but I had to change my pedals. I went out and spent $400 on a set of V3s. That
Mhm.
has made the biggest difference in my racing. Is the V3s. The
Mhm.
pedals, I believe, make a far bigger difference in iRacing than the wheel. But I do believe the wheel will fine tune some of your driving because I'm kind of on the edge of dirt anyway of pushing up a level, leveling up so to speak, and, and
Mhm.
and maybe that upgrade would make a difference. But man, it's so hard to put those upgrades in, and I mean, it does get pricey, and single dad, two kids, makes a
Mhm.
difference. But I definitely want to upgrade my wheel at some point and be able to give this to my son and let him race. Maybe I can get him to straight line Tyler Ducharme. Just
Well,
kidding.
you're welcome to come try mine anytime. I run the CSL Direct Drive for those of you that don't know. I think it's a pretty good deal. 2-3 weeks ago, I probably wouldn't have told you to get it. Probably would have told you to get the Simu Cube because there was some bugs going on where my wheelbase would just randomly cut out for like a split second in the middle of a race and almost make me wreck. But I don't know that those issues seem to be gone, and when it's working, it works great. So I'm pretty happy with it.
I've
Um, I
I've
highly
definitely
recommend it.
I've definitely seen a difference in your racing, especially on the roadside. And I mean, you kind of peaked for a little bit, and then I think you hit that slump we all hit when we hit about middle ground. Like I did it in dirt when I struggled right around that 2000 range,
Hmm.
and I jumped up, and then I would jump back down, and I would jump up. I think it's just a weird spot in iRating around that 2,000 range, and I think that's
Hmm.
what's happened with you right now on road. But man, the amount of control that I've seen, I think it might actually hurt you on dirt side, but I think it helps you everywhere else. I
Yeah,
think getting
it
used
definitely
to it.
hurt me at first on dirt. I'm used to it now though. I don't think it hurts me. I think it actually helps me in the late model having the bigger wheel. Um, the big blocks took me a little bit to get used to. Roadside definitely helps making me smoother.
And you
I've
run
made
a lot
saves.
more of it now because you're comfortable.
I've made saves with that wheel that I definitely would have never made with the G29. Like you just can just move it a lot quicker and have a lot more precise control with that bigger wheel. I think. But yeah, I think the root of me, because I was at 2300 before, and then I fell to 1800, and now I'm back up to like 2300 again. I think the root of that was I was bouncing around running a lot of different series and a lot of the lower series like the TCRs and the IRO4s, which are a ton of fun, but they can be iRating killers when you get wrecked out a lot,
Yeah,
especially when you're not gaining a ton. So I think for the next couple of months or whatnot, I'm gonna stick to my GT3 racing and stick to my F1 racing and not really dip below C if I can help it.
yeah, for sure. Well, not a whole lot left to talk about. We've talked about. I don't know what I'm looking forward to this week. I'm probably looking forward to 87s.
Yeah, that'll be
I
fun.
just want to have fun this week. That's my goal. I didn't have a lot of fun last week. Volusia, obviously, in the big blocks. I love Volusia. I want to look forward to it. Um, I just don't know if I can. I guess we'll find out. But yeah, so hopefully this week's racing is a little bit better. We all hit those bad weeks, and hopefully I come out of mine this week and can jump that I rating back up. But we're gonna go ahead and call it a stream. A little bit shorter stream than usual, but not a whole lot happened last week, and not a whole ton happening this coming week. So pretty quick. But guys, as